Well, continuing our coverage of Sidney, Montana, and the upcoming closure of the town's Sugarbeet factory, today we take a deeper look at the history of the factory and what American Crystal Sugar Corporation has to say about the closure.
That's right. Eastern Montana has relied on their agricultural abilities to survive since their founding, and one of the area's primary cash crops has been sugar beets. But that's about to change as the nearly century-old factory is facing closure, taking hundreds of jobs with it. But where did it all start? In 1925, the Holly Sugar Beet factory was built roughly a decade after the town of Sidney was officially created. From the 1930s till the 80s, the factory experienced new equipment updates and repairs, so it remained fully functional. In the late 80s, Holly Sugar was acquired by Imperial Sugar, who began expanding the factory through the 90s. At the turn of the 2000s, the American Crystal Company purchased Holly Sugar and renamed it to the Sidney Sugars we know today.
This is one of Holly Sugar's best factories. When they were a company going, this was their pride and joy of the company, was the Sidney, Montana factory. And even the last years they had it, they were still doing things to increase the number of acres we could run through it. And then American Crystal bought us. And it's been pretty much steadily downhill since they took over. They started cutting our contract prices, cutting what they were doing to the factory, not increasing, and not even maintaining it as well as they should have.
2 decades later, American Crystal announces the upcoming closure of their factories on April 14th. American Crystal cites their reason for closure was due to an ongoing insufficient supply of sugar beets from local growers, which has made it financially unsustainable to continue operating the nearly 100-year-old business, end quote. Reportedly, though, around 75 farmers had already signed up to grow sugar beets in 2023. American Crystals also reported last year that there was just above 18,000 acres contracted, when the year before that, nearly double the amount had been contracted, making the Sidney operation, quote, simply unprofitable, end quote. Less than a week ago, in early February, Montana Governor Gianforte traveled to Sidney to discuss solutions to help lessen the potential economic impact of the impending closure. While it is too soon to predict the future of Sidney, Gianforte said that during his time there, many expressed concerns for what may unfold in the next few months. Montanans impacted by the closure of Sidney Sugars can access employment resources by visiting montanaworks.mt.gov or by calling Job Service Sidney at the number you see up on your screen. We reached out to American Crystal 4 separate times over the phone to learn more about the factory and its upcoming closure, and received a text on February the 16th that said, quote, "For safety reasons and proprietary reasons, filming in and around our factories is not permitted. I do not have an individual available for commenting at this time," end quote. Back to you.
And we did reach out again before this story. We have yet to hear back.